Hello, beautiful listeners. This is Joanna from Mindful Counseling, aka JDS Counseling. You can check out my YouTube videos and recordings under JDS Counseling. And of course, this podcast, as I always bring in whenever I can. And to start off, I know I have not necessarily recorded any new podcasts in the recent weeks, and I think that a lot of it has to do with holidays, from Thanksgiving on to Christmases to New Year's. And another part being is that I do work full-time and carry a caseload of clients along with other jobs that I do on the side, which I'm realizing more and more how important that is, but also how important it is to continue doing my podcast. So to start off, happy and healthy New Year's to all of you out there. May it be a year full of joy, hopeful joy, prosperity, health, abundance, and strength for this year. Whether you have encountered losses, difficulties, I hope this year can provide you with strength and the ability to continue be who you are and who you want to be this year. So I know it's a new year, and most of us, I think many of us actually, we always find ourselves making resolutions. And what is it that we would like to have this year? What is it that we would like to accomplish this year? So I don't know if it's different this year versus all the previous years. Something that I am hearing, though, is that it has nothing really to do with resolutions, but more about how we want this year to be a lot better, just in general. For all of us, for the whole world, for people to continue to survive, to be better, to be healthier, to have jobs, to have income and security, to be able to provide for their families. So I don't know if we can call that the resolution or just a mutual goal of how we want things to be better this year. So from my own personal perspective is that for myself, but also for others, that I do hope that we regain the strength. That things, regardless of how the changes were in 2020 and the things that we had to endure and adjust to, that it is something that we don't have to look at it in a negative way, but we can hopefully find strength to push us forward, to have the resiliency to move forward, to push us forward, to push ourselves forward. And that really has to do with your own inner voice. We all have it. We all have that little inner voice in us that has a dialogue, that has a conversation. And most of the time, we don't necessarily speak it outwardly, because it's a little voice in us. It's the little voice in us that has good thoughts and it has bad thoughts. And how do we choose to communicate with that little inner voice in us? And I think moving forward into 2021 is find your own strength in your own voice, because you are the biggest critic of yourself. Outside of who you are, there's people, and they will criticize, they will judge, and they will stereotype. They will find ways to belittle you and put you down. However, there's also people out there that can motivate you, give you determination to move forward. People who out there can say something positive about you. But the bigger voice is the one that you have inside. The one voice that you have inside of yourself that can push you forward, that can motivate you, and that can give you positive feedback, positive words. Regardless of how you might feel, it's that voice in you that can say, you got it. You're doing a good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are beautiful. You are strong. And you are capable. And most of the time, that voice that we have We oftentimes don't listen to it because we are overwhelmed by the voices outside. We almost depend on what the outside voice means to us. But the bigger dependency is on the voice that comes from inside of us. And that starts with our inner child, the voice that children oftentimes hear from the outside, because that is the voice that will motivate them in the future or not motivate them. So be mindful of how you use your voice on your children, on others, as well as yourself. And I'm not saying in a narcissistic way. I'm not saying in a way where you're better than everybody else. I'm saying in a way that this is the inner voice in you that can allow you to be strong, to be confident, and to be beautiful for this year, to look forward to this year, regardless of the continued changes, whatever challenges might come our way. It is a voice in you that can push you forward, that can say you can still go on. The voice in you that can say that you have the power to become who you want to become. Whether you want to exercise or not, eat healthy or not. It's a voice in you that can tell you what to do. Maybe sometimes we depend on it too much, as I say this out loud, because we oftentimes then become so dependent on that inner voice that it allows us to behave a certain way. So be mindful of how you use your own inner voice, whether it's an inner voice that criticizes you and the inner voice that pushes you forward. This is a new year. And how is it that you choose to be this year? Who do you want to be this year? And where is it that you want this journey of 12 months to take you? Where do you see yourself at the end of this year? It's a long road, but it will pass quickly. It always does. So whether it's a new job, volunteering, income, love, family, caring, whatever you want to accomplish this year, it really comes within your own ability, your own strength. And it's great to have support. And it's great to have good, positive support. And hopefully those individuals are there for you. But this podcast is really just focusing on 2021. And where is it that you are today? Where is it that you would like to be in 3 months, in 6 months, 9 months, and in a year? We all have goals. And most of the time, those goals we cannot achieve if we don't have a plan, if we do not push ourselves forward. And I know I notice that I say push yourself forward a lot. But there's a reason to it. Because you are the only one in charge of it. Other people can push you forward, but unless it comes from within, you will not do it. We also have to be in a mindset of I am. If I say to myself that I am going to do this, I am going to do it. If I find myself saying I have to do it, most likely I will put it aside. We have to find ourselves in the present moment saying I am going to do something, to then doing it. There's no excuses. Time is always there. I used to say that there's no time. But now that I have picked up, I almost want to say more jobs, more responsibilities, I also want to say I have more time, ironically. And I recognize it's because a lot of things that I do, regardless of the responsibilities, the challenges, and whatever it is that comes, I actually enjoy it, every single piece of it. Whether it's working 11 or 12-hour shifts, whether it's sleeping 5 hours, sometimes even less, I find joy in what I do. And because I do, it gives me more time. Don't ask me how. I'm still trying to figure that out. So 2021, find joy in something that you would like to do. Don't look at it as a chore. Look at it as education, as something that gives you strength, as something that gives you enjoyment. And it could be small little things. It could be making your favorite dish, experimenting with food, picking a 1-minute plank. They say it's a good one, that it works pretty well if you commit to it daily. 1 minute. Put yourself in a plank position. So, yes, 2021 can be a year where you can find time for yourself, time for your children, time for your partner, time for your friends, time for your jobs and responsibilities and volunteering. Whatever it is that you decide to do, you can do it. Nobody's stopping you. As long as it is something that you know gives you a positive and satisfying feeling. Being optimistic matters a lot. So for me, to end this podcast, I know for myself, I have a full-time job. Actually, I should say I have 2 jobs, 2 full-time jobs. And it will continue on. And I love it. It gives me the ability to take care of my full-time job where I have my clients. Certain days are longer than others. The ability to be a parent and spend time with my daughter. The part of me that is able to do this podcast. And the part of me that is able to do recordings, which I also edit. Not to say it's the best of editing, but it's good enough for YouTube. You should check it out. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and shares. Like I said, it's under JDS Counseling. And once again, as this podcast nears the end, I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful, healthy, and optimistic, successful New Year's and the year 2021. Until next time, be safe and be well.